Patriots Nation, happy game day, man. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, we have our watch party starting here in just under 2 hours. Okay, I wanted to do this live stream earlier, but unfortunately, a very, very busy day. We got a lot of things in the works with the potential new sponsor. As you guys always know, right before the start of the season, it gets so damn busy. But there's been a lot of news that has happened for the New England Patriots over the last few days. By the title, you can tell one of those is the New England Patriots, according to Andrew Callahan, almost forgot that, but according to Andrew Callahan, the New England Patriots have placed Kyle Duggar and Anfernee Jennings on the trade block leading up to Tuesday's roster cutdowns. Okay, it's going to be a crazy day on Tuesday. Expect a video live stream, breaking down the cuts, breaking down the final roster, my thoughts, all that good stuff. And we're going to get into that topic a little bit later. But the New England Patriots today also placing Jaylen Polk on injured reserve. Okay, his season is officially over. If the New England Patriots wanted to place him on IR but designated to return, they would have had to make that move on roster cutdowns. They would have had to make that move on Tuesday. Because this happens before his 2025 season is officially over, they cannot bring him back. Now, we were going to talk about Jaylen Polk a couple of days ago. Why? Because there was also a report that came out a couple of days ago that the Pittsburgh Steelers were interested in trading for Jaylen Polk, which, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the best teams in the league in developing wide receivers and identifying talent. So the fact that straight off the bat, okay, there wasn't even a report that the Patriots were putting Jaylen Polk on the trade block. And we already heard that the Steelers had interest. Look, see it how you want. Me personally, I say, do the Pittsburgh Steelers see something in Jaylen Polk that no other Patriots fan is apparently seeing? Because I trust the Pittsburgh Steelers identifying wide receivers. More than the Patriots, more than any Patriots fan. No shocks, I love us Patriots fans, but we don't even know how to develop wide receivers ourselves. So does that say something? And that's actually what I want to get into first. I want to talk about Jaylen Polk being placed on injured reserve because earlier today, I posted a TikTok and on Twitter and here on YouTube Shorts about how the Patriots got great news, okay? And now, obviously, take that as you will. We had to make sure that we provided a title that was good enough for you guys to click on in the first place, but I do believe that Jaylen Polk being placed on injured reserve is good news. And I am getting dragged right now, guys, which is okay. It's okay. You put yourself out there. You put yourself on social media. You put your opinions out there. You're going to get people who disagree. That is perfectly fine. That's not the problem. But I'm getting dragged right now on Twitter because of that video. And I'm going to play it for you guys because I will stand 10 toes on this that I did not say anything incorrect here when it comes to Jaylen Polk. As you guys can see, it's blowing up a little bit. Hey, I'm grateful for it, man. They say no publicity is bad publicity, but I don't always know if I agree in that. So let's watch this video together because according to Patriots Nation, I said something in here that was so volatile that I need to get off social media.
The New England Patriots, believe it or not, just got some pretty good news, and that might sound wild, but this was the best case scenario for them. So according to Jordan Schultz, Patriots wide receiver Jaylen Polk will miss the entire 2025 season due to a shoulder injury that requires surgery. The 2024 second-round pick saw multiple specialists, and surgery was determined to be the best course of action with the goal of being fully healthy for 2026. Now, I'm sure I'm already getting flamed in the comment section. Your second-year wide receiver just got placed on injured reserve. He's done for the season. What do you mean that is good news? Look, this Patriots wide receiver core is loaded. And when I say it's loaded, I don't mean it's one of the best in the NFL, but it has a lot of wide receivers on the roster that deserve to be on a 53-man roster. It was only a year ago that the Patriots used a second pick on Jaylen Polk coming out of Washington, and there was a lot of hype surrounding him. A lot of Patriots fans already want to list him as a bust, but let's keep in mind throughout the first 5 weeks of his rookie season, he showed a lot of promise, especially in that 49ers game. The reason that down the stretch, Jaylen Polk lost all hope and lost all potential and looked like a bust of a wide receiver was because the team put too high of expectations on him than he was ready for. The team overwhelmed Jaylen Polk so much that mentally he started to be a tick behind, which physically had him being a tick behind. In fact, the Patriots themselves and general manager Elliott Wolf came out earlier this offseason and took blame for the fall off of Jaylen Polk. Do I think that Jaylen Polk is ever going to live up to the second round hype that the Patriots used on him? No, I don't think he's ever going to be a number one. I don't think he's ever going to be a number two. I think best case scenario is if he can still be a number three. Nonetheless, though, I do still think that he can be an NFL wide receiver. He has the versatility to play everywhere on the offensive formation. We saw in college, we saw since he transitioned to the NFL that he can make those tough, difficult, contested catches. He did show a good connection with Drake May at one point, and when Jaylen Polk was able to see the field this offseason in limited opportunities, he was working one-on-one with Stephon Diggs. You can decide to be glass half full or glass half empty on the situation. I'm going to choose to be glass half full and say Jaylen Polk is now going to be able to take the entire year to mentally be able to take a step back, to calm down, to understand the Josh McDaniels offense, and now compete for a job in 2026. If it wasn't for this injury, the Patriots would have had to release him. And unfortunately, I just don't think he would have cleared waivers. I think another team would have picked him up. There was already rumors that the Pittsburgh Steelers had interest in trading for him. But because of this injury, the Patriots can now stash him on IR, still own the rights to him, but not have to waste a roster spot on him. Look, needing surgery on that shoulder that he got surgery on just a couple of months ago isn't ideal, and hopefully he can come back from that. But in my own personal opinion, this is the best case scenario for Jaylen Polk's Patriots career.
So apparently, okay, according to Patriots fans' Twitter, that's wrong. Apparently, everything I said in that video was wrong, which also doesn't make sense because 50% of what I said in that video was just not even an opinion. It's simply just a fact. So I don't know how you can argue with some of this, but some of the pushback that I've gotten on that video was, how can you say that that is the best case scenario? You used a second round pick on the guy a year ago. He hasn't looked good. How is him being placed on injured reserve in his second season the best case scenario? People telling me that the best case scenario is that he would have actually hit as a second round pick. When I say that Jaylen Polk being placed on season-ending injured reserve is the best case scenario, I don't mean it's the best case scenario when they drafted him. I'm talking about realistically, right now. I'm talking, August of 2025, heading into the regular season, giving everything that has happened with Jaylen Polk this offseason. Yes, him being placed on injured reserve is the best case scenario. Let's go through all the scenarios. Realistically, not being, not going crazy, not saying anything that is incorrect, not thinking illogically, but thinking logically, realistically, given what we know about Jaylen Polk's offseason, where we are in August heading into the regular season, there's only a few scenarios that could have happened. 1, the Patriots straight up release him. 2, the Patriots trade him. 3, the Patriots place him on season-ending injured reserve and keep the rights to him for next year. Guys, Jaylen Polk is at the lowest of low right now. The Patriots used a second-round pick on him just 1 year ago. We don't know what Jaylen Polk is. And this is what I don't understand with some of the fans, okay? It actually drives me crazy, is that there's so many fans backing up Javon Baker and saying, oh, but Javon Baker hasn't gotten the opportunity, and Javon Baker can still be something, but Jaylen Polk is a bust. Jaylen Polk, we're done with him. Jaylen Polk got 1 year. Jaylen Polk didn't even get to practice for the majority of this offseason. And Jaylen Polk at least showed some potential last year. Jaylen Polk has shown more potential in the regular season. Jaylen Polk has shown more potential as a wide receiver than Javon Baker has. That is just a fact. That is backed up by statistics, okay? That's not even my opinion. That is just a pure blown fact, okay? And here's the thing with Jaylen Polk, okay? By keeping him on IR for the remainder of the season, the Patriots aren't in a situation where they had to decide, do we use a 53-man roster spot on him and continue to develop him, or do we just officially cut our losses and move on? This allows them to keep the rights to Jaylen Polk without having to use a 53-man roster spot on him, meaning that for the entire 2025 season, Jaylen Polk can sit back, he can relax, he can rehab. He can actually be healthy next year. He can take the time to mentally just sit back, decline, and learn the Josh McDaniels playbook and get those mental reps, which I think is really, really important for somebody like Jaylen Polk. Next year, he should be able to, as soon as minicamp, OTAs, training camp, as soon as that kicks off, he should be a full participant and ready to go with a second year of knowledge of this system under his belt. And then we get our second real look at Javon Baker. That's my thing. You used a premier second round pick on him. You didn't use a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick, 7th round pick. You used a premier second round pick on this guy just 1 year ago. You owe it to yourself to, at the very least, see what he has before you move on, because there was a level of potential that you did see from him. And we will get to that in a minute. Best case scenario, okay? Best case scenario is that next offseason, Jaylen Polk is healthy and he shows you that he can be one of your 6 best wide receivers. Will Jaylen Polk ever live up to the second round hype? No. Jaylen Polk will never live up to the second round hype and the pick the Patriots used on him. He will never be a wide receiver 1. He will never be a wide receiver 2. I think if everything hits his ceiling, if everything goes perfectly, which never happens in life, but let's say it does for Jaylen Polk. In that case, I think Jaylen Polk at his peak can be a wide receiver 3. But at the very, very least, can Jaylen Polk prove next offseason that he is one of the Patriots' 6 best wide receivers? I think there's still the potential for that. I really do. And worst case scenario, the Patriots trade him next offseason when he's healthy, and you can try to put good film out there in the preseason, during OTAs, minicamp, training camp. That's what people aren't understanding, is that right now, Jaylen Polk would have been cut. I don't think you're getting anything for Jaylen Polk in a trade. And if you are, it's a 7th round pick. His value is at an all-time low. By keeping him on the IR, allowing him to compete next year and continuing to own the rights for him, you get a look at him for yourself next year for a team that still needs help at wide receiver. And at the very least, you can try to increase his trade value. And instead of going for maybe a 7th round pick, maybe the Patriots can get a 5th. Maybe the Patriots can get a 6th. This was the best case scenario. It only helps the Patriots, and it only helps Jaylen Polk. It doesn't help you to cut a guy getting absolutely nothing for him when you got only 1 year of insight into what he could look like. When Jaylen Polk actually practiced in training camp for the few days he practiced, he had good moments. His first day back, he had a touchdown. He has been learning one-on-one between reps after practice. There's videos of this. This is an opinion. This is a fact. He's been working one-on-one. You can go check out the videos yourself on social media of him working between sets, after practice, before practice, one-on-one with Stephon Diggs. I thought that Jaylen Polk's blocking looked really, really good in the receiving game. Well, I guess in the run game, I should say. That is something that in Washington, Jaylen Polk did so damn well. It was an underrated part to his game, was his ability to block in the run game. And Javon Baker, he's had moments of that, but it's been inconsistent, just like his receiving game. So I think that that was another element that we were seeing from Jaylen Polk. But unfortunately, he got injured, and we didn't get to see where that potential was headed. So again, I personally don't understand why it is a wild take to say that the best case scenario happened for the New England Patriots. Again, we're not talking about best case scenario since the Patriots drafted Jaylen Polk. We are talking best case scenario given his current circumstance. And I think that's something that people have gotten totally misunderstood from that entire video. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You got people coming in here saying, me saying it's good news, it's messed up. Why is it messed up? It was the best case scenario. It's good for the Patriots. It's good for Jaylen Polk. I don't think that people understand his value was the lowest of the low. And when I say that, I also forgot to change the ticker down here. My bad. Let's just turn that off for now. But when I say that Jaylen Polk had potential, Jaylen Polk did. Can we remember that he looked good during the preseason last year, his rookie year? He looked so good that they would only give him a few reps per game because he was supposed to be a big piece of the offense in 2024. Can we remember that he looked really good in training camp last year when he was healthy, that he had a really good rapport with Drake May? And I said that Jaylen Polk flashed potential. I never said he flashed potential as a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I never said he was going to be elite. I said Jaylen Polk flashed potential in his first 5 weeks, and he did. Jaylen Polk, in his first 5 games of 2024, I'm not saying this is great, but he went 9 receptions, 78 yards, one touchdown. Now, one touchdown, that should have been 2 touchdowns if that Miami rule was a rule that made sense in the league. And let's keep in mind that through the first 5 weeks of the NFL season, Jaylen Polk also, according to the NFL, was one of the best receivers in the league in separation, okay? Jaylen Polk was getting open a lot throughout the first 5 weeks. But unfortunately, the ball wasn't finding him. The offensive line was so bad. Jacoby Brissett had his own consistencies. Because the O-line was so bad, he couldn't get the guys the ball down the field. I mean, I remember, and you guys probably remember too, throughout the first 5 weeks, there was discussion coming out of the organization from Alex Van Pelt to Gerard Mayo to Elliott Wolf saying, we need to get Jaylen Polk more involved because when we give him the ball, he makes plays. But unfortunately, after that Miami game, where he got the touchdown, but then it was reversed and it wasn't a touchdown, it's supposed to be his game-winning touchdown, Jaylen Polk was never the same. And after that, the Patriots put so many expectations on him. They were asking him to play above where he realistically should. They put so much on the plate of Jaylen Polk that mentally he got so mixed up. He got confused. He lost his confidence. He suffered from concentration drops. That's what we saw last year. Jaylen Polk down the stretch struggled as much as he did because of concentration drops. Then he went out and he was listening to the media. He was listening to the fans that were coming at his neck. He lost his confidence. And if you lose your confidence as a receiver, you're effed. That was the problem with Jaylen Polk down the stretch. But to say he wasn't good in the first 5 weeks, to say he didn't show the potential, it's absolutely wrong. Go back in the first 5 weeks and actually look at the film. If you want to say he sucked after the first 5 weeks, go right ahead. I mean, do we all remember the catch that he made versus the 49ers? Jaylen Polk looked damn good against the 49ers. I mean, I can't show you guys the play, unfortunately. But maybe I could show you like a still picture of what I'm talking about. Hold up. I'm going to show you a still picture of this. So I can't show you the real play or I'll get in trouble. Do we all remember this play? I hope so. Do we all remember this play that Jaylen Polk made between 2 defenders? Jaylen Polk can make plays through contested catches. Good through contact. Again, the problem for Polk is not the talent. The problem for Polk has been the concentration drops, has been him in his own head. I think allowing him to not be the number one guy, to not have expectations on him this entire season, to be able to get those mental reps, to be able to learn the playbook. I think that there is still potential for him to be one of the Patriots' 6 best wide receivers in 2026. Again, I don't think he'll be the best. I don't think he'll be the second best. I doubt he'll be the third best. But can Jaylen Polk be a complimentary wide receiver 4 on this team? Wide receiver 5? I don't think that's out of the question. And for me, I think what drives me insane is this conversation that, like, Javon Baker can still be something for the Patriots. Javon Baker deserves a roster spot. Javon Baker wasn't given the opportunity for New England. We need to have Javon Baker still make this roster because he can be a wide receiver for New England. But Jaylen Polk, oh, forget that guy. That guy can't be anything. What are we talking about? Javon Baker hasn't done anything in the league. If you want to tell me that Javon Baker can be a good special teamer in this league, that Javon Baker should make this Patriots final roster as a special teamer, I agree with you. Okay. But if you're telling me that Javon Baker can still be a wide receiver for this team, that Javon Baker has shown that he can be a wide receiver for this team, no, he hasn't. Statistically speaking, factually speaking, Jaylen Polk has shown more than Javon Baker has as a wide receiver. Jaylen Polk showed that he can be just as good of a run blocker, if not better, than Javon Baker. Jaylen Polk showed in the preseason and the regular season throughout the first 5 weeks against starting caliber cornerbacks that he can get open against them, that he can actually make plays. What has Javon Baker done? Javon Baker having 1 catch against backups in Week 18 against the Buffalo Bills? Javon Baker throughout 2 preseasons not being able to catch the ball? And before we blame it on 5 different quarterbacks that Javon Baker hasn't done anything, maybe for once we should just look at the player. Javon Baker can't make plays against backups. Javon Baker can't get separation against backups. And by the way, I was a huge Javon Baker fan. I loved him during the draft process. I loved the selection. I had such high hopes. But we need to look at the facts. We need to look at what is being shown. And for those saying he didn't get the opportunity last year, the Patriots had the worst wide receiver group in all of the NFL. They had a soft coach in Gerard Mayo. If Javon Baker was even a slightly decent wide receiver, do we not think he would have seen the field last year? Let's stop saying Javon Baker didn't get the opportunity, and instead let's ask ourselves, why? Okay, why was Javon Baker not given the opportunity last year? Let's again look at the facts, because based off of reports, last year Javon Baker didn't get the opportunity till week 18 because he couldn't line up in practice correctly, because he didn't know the playbook. What has Javon Baker shown us in an actual game that he can be a wide receiver for the Patriots? Okay, because I don't care what you do in practice. Javon Baker, sure, he's been wildly inconsistent throughout 2 off seasons now for New England, but he showed promise in training camp. Last offseason he did. This offseason he showed promise in training camp. But what has he shown you when he's been on the field against a team that was not his own? Please, someone tell me. Because it's been nothing. You know how many receivers have been in New England that had great training camps but couldn't put it together on the field? Tyquan Thornton was a great wide receiver for the Patriots in training camp every single year. Please tell me, how did that go for him? Maurice Harris was great for the Patriots a couple of years ago as an offseason addition. Good in training camp, good in OTAs, good in minicamp. What did he do? Oh, yeah. The same year he was signed, he was cut during roster cutdowns. It doesn't matter what you do in practice, okay? What you do in practice is the first step. But if you're going to get on the field, if you're going to make the final roster as a wide receiver, guess what you have to do? You have to go out there come game day against a team that is not your own and actually show out. Because playing well in practice and playing well on game day are 2 wildly different things. Which, by the way, the play that the play Jaylen Polk got injured on when he injured his shoulder against the Commanders, 2 weeks ago? Hurt his same shoulder he got off-season shoulder surgery on? When he got that jet sweep or the end around, I don't remember what exact play it was, but he got that rushing opportunity. A defender came right at him and clocked him because Javon Baker blocked the wrong guy. Sabotage? Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's not sabotage, but go back and look at the play because Javon Baker blocks the wrong guy, which does get Jaylen Polk blown up. I want to make this clear that I am not telling you that Jaylen Polk is going to break out and live up to the hype. I've said several times now that I don't think Jaylen Polk will. But Jaylen Polk hasn't gotten the opportunity in this new system. You can't say he did. Javon Baker has. Javon Baker has stayed healthy. He's gotten his opportunity this offseason. He got his opportunity last offseason. He has not gotten the opportunity in Jaylen Polk this offseason because of those injury problems. So for me, next offseason, for me, determines what happens with Jaylen Polk. If he can't stay healthy and he comes back and he has these same injury problems next offseason, see if you can trade him, cut ties, move on. The first important thing as an NFL player is availability, right? That's job security. Availability is job security. Well, I guess ball security is job security, but also it's availability is also job security. But if he comes back healthy, let's see what he has before we move on. And if they still feel that he hasn't shown enough or they feel like he's not one of the best receivers for this system, then trade him. But I promise you that Jaylen Polk's trade value is not going to drop any lower than it is right now. So why does it hurt the Patriots? Why does it hurt the Patriots to place him on season-ending injury reserve and keep the rights to him? The value only gets higher. This only helps the Patriots by keeping him. It doesn't hurt them. You can hate me for saying it, but you can't say that anything that I just said was incorrect. Thank you for allowing me to get on my soapbox. I feel like I needed to say that after some of the blasphemy that I am seeing in the comment section on Twitter, okay? Again, not everybody has to agree with me. That's perfectly fine. You can flame me in the comments. I really don't care. Comes with the job, but I'm not going to get flamed for saying something that's absolutely true. You feel for you feel for Jaylen Polk as a person, okay? I want to make this clear. Before we move on to the final segment here, I want to make it clear that I feel for Jaylen Polk as a person, because this is not what you want. You don't want the guy to have to get offseason shoulder surgery, and then he's a limited participant all offseason, and then he finally gets the opportunity, and then in the first preseason game, re-injures that same shoulder. I don't want that for him. I feel for him. But I do think that for Jaylen Polk's future, him sitting back and him just decompressing and just being able to have the game slow down for him mentally, so that he understands the game and he understands the system. I think if there's any hope for Jaylen Polk to be an NFL wide receiver, I think that it's going to be because he was able to take the entire year off and just mentally understand and mentally decompress and just mentally focus. But all right, here, I do want to move on. I do want to move on to the final segment here. PG, you got moonshine in the mason jar? No, this is water, okay, guys? It's water, I swear. But guys, let's be real. Everything's better in a... Wow, I almost just completely effed up my entire system. But let's be honest, okay? Everything's better in a mason jar. Coffee, water, I don't know what it is. Everything's better in a mason jar, man. Also, these are the only cups I have in my house, so... That's all I'm saying. Anyway, am I going live tonight? Guys, yes. So we have the live watch party in an hour. That's why this live stream isn't going to be an hour, all right? Well, I just wanted to get on, talk about some of the Patriots' recent news, and then log off. I also had to go on my soapbox and defend myself there for a minute because the video was getting a little bit blown out of proportion. But anyway, I want to get into the second part here because, as you see, the New England Patriots, according to Andrew Callahan, have officially placed Kyle Duggar and Anfernee Jennings on the trade block. Now, this should surprise absolutely nobody. Ever since that joint practice with the Commanders, you had Kyle Duggar demoted from the first-team defense to the second-team defense. He played up until the end of the fourth quarter against the Commanders, up until the end of the fourth quarter against the Vikings. He obviously had that game-tying, or not game-tying, but game-winning, game-sealing interception. And I would expect him to also play here tonight. From what I am hearing, okay, from what I am hearing from the media, and I forget who exactly it is. I forget who the report is. There's been a lot of reports as of late. But there was a report that came out that the New England Patriots are actually receiving more trade interest for Anfernee Jennings than they are for Kyle Duggar. Now, that makes sense, right? Because Kyle Duggar is only in the second year, or is heading into the second year of the big extension the Patriots gave him last year. He's getting paid more than $10 million. He's paid as a top 10 safety in the league. Kyle Duggar is one of the highest paid safeties in the NFL. Obviously, between his injury problems, between his play, he has not lived up to that hype. If the Patriots release Kyle Duggar, they only save about $1 million, right? They take on a pretty hefty amount of dead money. If the Patriots can somehow trade Kyle Duggar, they will free up $10 million this year. And now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, all right, well, why do they need to save money? They got $60 million, right? Well, if they free up an extra $10 million, they have roughly $70 million that can roll into next year. I'm not worried yet, but the New England Patriots are in the red next year in terms of cap space. Right now, they're projected to owe the NFL money, not actually have money to spend in cap space. Now, I'm sure they'll make moves and whatnot. The NFL cap space has gone up more and more and more every single year. So I'm sure that the Patriots ultimately, I do believe that the Patriots ultimately, lost concentration here. But anyway, I read a comment and then it totally just threw me off. But as for the Patriots, when it comes to Kyle Duggar, I do think they will have to absorb some of that money from his contract. That's also a rumor that we are hearing, that they will have to absorb some of that money if a team is going to trade for him. I think if it came down to his contract, I think they could get more for Kyle Duggar. I think that they can get a fourth, maybe even a fifth round pick for Duggar. Given this contract, I think realistically, the Patriots are only going to get probably a sixth or seventh round pick for him. Getting Kyle Duggar off the team is not about getting high draft compensation for him, which sucks because I do think he is a good player still in this league. But getting him out of New England is really getting his contract off the books. So if you ask me, I don't think Kyle Duggar is on this team. This is a crowded safety room. Obviously, you got Craig Woodson, a rookie that the Patriots just drafted in the fourth round. I think with Kyle Duggar too, he doesn't bring that versatility the way that the Patriots want from their safeties in order to keep him around. He isn't somebody that you want to play at outside cornerback. He's not someone you want to play at free safety. Maybe he could be a big slot cornerback for you. Honestly, I wonder if there's just a team that looks at Kyle Duggar and they say, we're going to do with him what the Raiders are doing with Jamal Adams and just make him a hybrid linebacker at this point. Because Kyle Duggar is his best when he can play physical. Kyle Duggar is at his best when he plays as close to the line of scrimmage as humanly possible. Given how the Patriots want to run this defense and given the guys that are ahead of Kyle Duggar in the safety room, I don't see them making that move for him. What they need from Kyle Duggar is to go up against tight ends. And what we've seen is that Duggar has issues going up against tight ends, and he's getting burned. I mean, you look at joint practice with the Commanders, he was getting burned time after time after time, again, just in joint practice against Zach Ertz. So it just feels like he is on the outside looking in. I would expect Kyle Duggar to play today. I think the Patriots want to have him show his best possible tape out there to try to increase his trade value as much as possible. Again, if the Patriots don't get what they want in return for him, maybe they just say, look, it doesn't make sense for us to trade him right now, and we're just going to keep him as a depth piece in case injuries potentially happen. That's always possible. But I think that if it's possible for them to get him off the books and get him out of New England and just get some type of draft compensation for him, then I do think that they will do it. Anfernee Jennings, on the other hand, this is a guy that also showed out against the Minnesota Vikings, right? Kyle Duggar, I thought, had some good moments, more specifically with that game-sealing interception, but Anfernee Jennings was a dog all game, playing from start to finish there. He had 3 sacks. He had 3 tackles for loss. He really could not have had a better game. And for Anfernee Jennings, he was never demoted. He was playing with the third-team defense really all off-season long, and it's just really, really disappointing that they can't find a way to keep Anfernee Jennings. And I'm not surprised. Okay, I'm not surprised that the Patriots are getting way decent offers for Anfernee Jennings than they are Kyle Duggar, because Kyle Duggar in the correct system is a dog. Anfernee Jennings is not just one of the best, not even one, he's the best run defending edge in all of football, but he is one of, according to PFF, the best run defenders in all of football since 2022. Unfortunately, here in New England, under Terrell Williams and Mike Vrabel, that's not what they want from their defensive linemen. From their defensive linemen, they want their main priority to be getting to the quarterback, their ability to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And Anfernee Jennings, he is very, very average at best at being able to apply pressure on opposing quarterbacks, right? Like in the preseason, yeah, he had 3 sacks, but he was also going up against backups, guys that he should beat. When it comes up against playing real quality starting offensive linemen, he's not a bad pass rusher, but he's not good. He's certainly not consistent. The bread and butter of Anfernee Jennings, how he makes his name heard, where he makes a play on any given down, is his ability at defending the run, at setting the edge and containing the edge. So I think a team that needs help in the run-stopping department, that wants their defensive linemen to be a little bit more well-versed, that wants their defensive linemen to be able to stop the run and allow that to be their main priority, that's where Anfernee Jennings is going to thrive. But here in New England, where your job is to get to the quarterback, if you're on that D-line, it just doesn't make sense for him to be here. And he's such a good player, and I wish that they would keep him and just find a role for him, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think if the Patriots can get a 4th-round pick for him, you say, thank you, Anfernee Jennings. We'll see you later. And that's about that. So if you ask me, I think Anfernee Jennings is guaranteed to be gone because I do think they'll get a good draft pick in return for him. Kyle Duggar, I feel a little bit less optimistic just because I do think the Patriots want to trade him. I do think that there is trade interest for him. But if the Patriots only get a 7th-round pick for Kyle Duggar and they have to eat a portion of his contract, is it really worth it at that point? I feel like at that point, you just keep him for the year, see if a team gets desperate at the trade deadline, offers you a little bit more, and then next offseason, see if you can potentially flip him for a little bit more. So again, if you ask me right now, I think both will be gone. I feel confident Anfernee Jennings will be gone. I'm a little bit more hesitant with Kyle Duggar just based off of what exactly the Patriots can get. If you're telling me you'll give me a 5th-round pick and I got to eat a portion of the contract, like, all right, I guess here you go. Here's Kyle Duggar. But if it's a 7th and I'm eating the contract, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I still believe in Kyle Duggar. I want to make it clear. All right. I think a lot of people are hating on Kyle Duggar because how he's performing as of late, right? And football is what have you done for me lately? It's not just with the team, but it's also with the fans. I think the fans of football are even more in this mindset of what have you done lately and not what did you do at one time. I think it's the same thing with Jaylen Polk. I think Patriots fans are looking at the situation with Jaylen Polk as of late, and they're saying you're done. I think it's the same thing with Kyle Duggar. You look at the injury, you look at the inconsistencies, you look at him getting demoted in practice, you look at him playing deep in the fourth quarter in the preseason, and you say, all right, you're done. But I still think that if Kyle Duggar is fully healthy and he's put in a correct position to succeed, I do still think that he can be a good player, whether that is for the New England Patriots or not. But look, guys, that is going to wrap up today's live stream. Just wanted to hop on here pretty quick and talk about the Jaylen Polk to IR situation. Wanted to break down the reports of Kyle Duggar and Anfernee Jennings, both placed officially on the trade block. The New England Patriots are listening to offers for both of those guys following the team's roster cutdowns this coming Tuesday, guys. We will be live in 1 hour. All right, my friends, we will be live in 1 hour to do a live watch party. New England Patriots final preseason game in New York versus the Giants. Both the New England Patriots and the New York Giants are undefeated currently. You guys heard that right. Both undefeated. What team will remain undefeated? That is the question, guys. We will break down all the guys that are active and inactive in the beginning of the live stream that will be starting in roughly an hour. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you guys join us for the watch party in an hour for real-time breakdowns, play-by-play reactions. It's going to be a good time, guys. The last opportunity for these guys to make their final push. It's going to be a good one. But guys, until next time, I appreciate you so much for watching. Whether you love my takes, hate my takes, if you are here supporting me, it means the world. Make sure you guys also click the link that is pinned in the live chat right now. It's going to take you to my beacons, okay? Make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms, not just here on YouTube. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter for Patriots-related thoughts. Follow me on TikTok, guys. I'm posting a lot of content on TikTok, Patriots and NFL-related. Really trying to get to 10,000 followers as soon as possible. So please, guys, do your boy a favor. Support me on all social platforms. Click the link in the beacons. But until an hour, because that's when we'll be back. Until an hour, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And never forget, go Pats.